I remember the time that my brother called me and said that my cousin was getting bullied at school, summer school in D.C. It was on Bruce Monroe, up off of Georgia Avenue. So I left my house in Northeast to travel to Northwest to protect my cousin. And as I entered the school, I seen my brother and my cousin, and I seen the bully. And they said that's the bully, the guy that was bullying my cousin. So at first I just paused and I told my cousin, I said, hey, stand up for yourself. I'm here. No one's going to jump in. Go ahead and fight him. Get it out the way. Earn your respect. As they danced around and danced around, nothing happened. I moved my cousin out the way. And then I went in there and I defended my cousin. I stopped the bully from bullying. And ever since then, they learned their respect. They earned their respect. And it encouraged my cousin that he can stand up for himself. My brother, that he can stand up for himself. And that they do have somebody in their corner to help them. So that led me to go into the United States Army, to continue a life of service, of protecting and helping others who can't defend themselves, or just to give them that selfless courage to let them know that they too can stand, that they too can encourage themselves, that they too can defend themselves, their family, and whoever that may be. So it's about service, it's about encouraging, and it's about defending and consistency. And life is going to continue to life. But the reality of it is, if we just stand up to our enemies, to our bullies, and just be courageous, we can help others. One, reach back, teach back, and help somebody else. And that way, we can have a community of service that will provide stability and encouragement. Let me tell you about these two setback challenges that I had in life. One was when I was in high school. I went to McKinley Tech, and I got in all sorts of trouble. It wasn't my neighborhood school. I went to stay with my aunt so I can go to McKinley Tech. I didn't want to go to Spingarn. So at the school, I got all sorts of good grades, wonderful academics, but I just had a authority problem with the teachers. And one day, one of the teachers snatched a bag that belonged to one of my female friends, and they were sitting in the teacher's lounge. And I ran in there, I saw the bag, and I snatched the bag. However, the teacher grabbed the bag as she was sitting down and fell out of the chair. Oh my gosh, that's not what I wanted to happen. And it got reported to the principal, and they gave me an ultimatum. I can either stay there or go back to my neighborhood school. And I was like, I don't need to stay here. I'll go back to my neighborhood school, which was a big mistake. However, I went to Spingarn, and they said I had to go to Spingarn night. And I was like, no, I enrolled, and I was like, no, this isn't for me. And yet, there was an adult alternative school called Washington Dick Street Academy. And I went there, attended that school, and I had a son, James III. And I had to take my son to school in the stroller with me as I'm learning, and he's sitting beside me, didn't cry or anything. And I just had to keep going. I had to keep pursuing. I graduated from there in 1994, and the beloved Marion Barry was one of the keynote speakers who came, and I took all sorts of photos with him, and we had the graduation at Gallaudet. The second challenge that's recent is when I lost my wife and my son to domestic violence of our biological 15-year-old son. And that threw me into a spiral to become a widow and a single father, all in one episode, right before my eyes. And yet the Spirit of God just came upon me and just calmed me and just let me know that no matter what, I was going to be all right. Things were going to be okay. that I just had to keep going. And at the time, my daughter was 2. She is 4 now. And it's just her and I. The boys are older, and we're just living life. It's challenging. Things are challenging. I would not say that they weren't. But helping others to get through their challenges by telling my story, that brings me joy, God's joy, that peace that surpasses all understanding. It's about encouraging, motivating, and that lifts my spirits. That helps me to stay above the water. That helps me to stay afloat by encouraging others. So you see, my life is not just about me. My life is about helping others, providing services to others, providing hope to others, providing whatever they need, an outlet for others to be inspired to keep going. Just because a challenge or you lose someone in life, that doesn't mean that's the end of the world. That's a new chapter for you. That's a new chapter for you to go back and help somebody else, just like I'm doing. And I love to encourage and motivate others. So that's some of my challenges. I have a lot. I'm 54 years old. I have a lot of challenges. But those are some of the 2 that I can really resonate, because when I did get my degree, when I did get my high school diploma, I now have my MBA from Liberty University. So you see, I don't stop. I keep going. You too. You can keep going. You don't have to stop. Just keep going. It just allow life to show you all the wonderful things that God has for you. The affordability of everything. Life is good. God is good. And just keep going. Don't stop. Learn to cope. That's the biggest thing. Coping. Here it is. May 5th, 2005. At the age of 35, I joined the military. Whoo! You see, I wanted to join the military when I was 17, but I was so influenced by the streets of Washington, D.C. I was engaged when I was 15. It just didn't happen. So I was always the person that said, when I wake up, I don't want to be, oh, if I would have done this, oh, if I would have done that. So when I had the chance and the opportunity of one of my friends that came into my store when I was working at Verizon Wireless, he said, hey, I'm a recruiter. Would you like to join the military? And I said, well, I had a motorcycle accident. I got all these challenges. Next thing I know, I was in Baltimore at the MEP station. Oh my gosh. About to swear into the United States military. I did. And it caused all kinds of uproar in my marriage. You see, I was in my marriage at the time 11 years. And my wife at that time couldn't understand how someone at 35 with a family, working a job, is going off to play soldier. But it was always a desire. It was always my heart. And I persevered to do it. So I woke up and I was in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, basic training at 35 years old, especially after coming off the streets of D.C. with my bags, my duffel bags. They threw us on this truck, this van with all these people, and they just started screaming. The drill sergeant screaming and yelling and screaming and yelling and pushing people's heads down in the bags and just doing all kinds of stuff. I was like, oh my gosh. However, I was a little more mature at that time, so I knew that it was all a head game. However, those young kids that were in their 18, 19, 20, they were frightened. They didn't know what was going on. But it was one of the greatest accomplishments in my life. Going through basic training at 35, in there with 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, it was a sight to see. And I thank God for the challenges and the perseverance of becoming a United States Army soldier. And I retired a staff sergeant. Let's see. If I can go back to tell my 21-year-old self, I would say, James, Ox, embrace the failure, embrace the challenges. Because you see, if you embrace the failure and the challenges, there will be an outcome that will surpass all understanding. because there's life lessons learned in it. And what I mean by that is when I was running the streets of DC, I was getting all sorts of trouble. I was getting arrested. I was hanging with the wrong crew. I was going to the Go-Go's, Rare Essence, Chuck Brown, Black Hole, Celebrity Hole, wherever I was going. And yet I had a vision that I wanted to do something in life, and yet I was just caught up in that world. And I felt like I was a failure, but the whole time I was learning, and I didn't realize that I was learning at that time, because what I learned then propelled me to who I am now, the man that I am now, this godly man, this father, went back soldier, got my MBA in real estate development from Liberty University, a husband to be. It just taught me so many lessons, but I have boys. I have 5 boys. And it taught me to go back and speak to them about the challenges of life. And that just because you made a mistake or you feel like you failed at something, you're not a failure. It's just life lessons that you're going to learn. It's going to help you to become who you are, just like it helped me to become who I am. So that's what I teach people. Don't worry about the failure. Just worry about the lesson in that failure and what you can do to make it and turn it into a positive. So you see, I'm always looking for a way to take a negative and turn it into a positive. Conflict resolutions. That's what you do. That's what it's about. Don't focus on don't focus on the major, but focus on the minor things. Those small things that you can control, because sometimes major things is just out of our control. Let me tell you what I've been encountering, and one of the biggest things and challenges in the world today with people: limiting beliefs. And let me tell you what I mean by limiting beliefs. For instance, there's families that may lived in an apartment, and their family lived in an apartment, and then when you accosted them or they looking, you say, "Hey, I can help you get a house." But because of their families and their generations of just living in an apartment, their beliefs that I can't get a house. And then I show them how you can get a house. So I help people to build wealth, to build the wealth out of equity in their home, to be proud, to have something that they can own. And I do the same with commercial. There are people who've been leasing for years. And with their limited belief, they don't understand or believe that they can buy a building too. And they can have tenants. So I show them as well that you too can stop leasing, purchase a building, and put your own tenants in there and create your own wealth. There are friends who want to get into real estate, but they're afraid and don't know how. And then I show them with their limited beliefs that you can get into real estate and start building generational wealth for you and your family. I've motivated my military friends. I've motivated my cousins. I've motivated so many people to help them overcome their limited beliefs. And now they too are realtors and building wealth for their family. So you see, it's about being genuine, coaching, and you have to be coachable. And you have to want to become a winner and change your mindset is the biggest thing, to get rid of those limited beliefs, to say that I too can do it. And that's what I do. I help people to overcome those limited beliefs and those mindsets that they can't, to become a winner that they can do. And they can do all things through Christ, which strengthens them. I'm always going to use the Lord, because that's how I got to where I am today. Without God, I wouldn't be who I am. So I'm going to encourage you. I want to motivate you. I want to inspire you. Get rid of your limited beliefs, because you too can do whatever you set out to do. Let me tell you why people like to hire me. People like to work with people who they can like and trust and who's genuine. Let me tell you the story about Wanda. Wanda reached out to me after she see my real estate posting on commercial properties. And she had a studio, upscale, very upscale, high-end studio, where she take wedding pictures, baby showers, and she had events. And at one of her studios, she started seeing little rodents. and all kinds of things that were just changing how her business operates because she's on the luxury side of it. And then after we had a consultation and I walked her through the expectations and what she can receive out of me and what I'm here to do for her, my fiduciary responsibility was to her, and she hired me. And I found Wanda a beautiful Class A building, brand new, in Rockville, Maryland, where she opened up her studio. And here's the other interesting thing as a realtor. I negotiated on her behalf to get her rent and her lease lowered, and at the same time to get her 3,500 square foot wall-to-wall light of studio space. And she was so elated that I also negotiated a contract for 5 years to be in that space. And that, to me, was a win-win. So you see, it doesn't matter. People hire me because I'm genuine, I'm honest, I'm going to tell you the truth, I'm going to fight for you, I'm going to work for you. I've even had people come to me on the other side of real estate, realtors, and say, you fight so hard for your clients. And I say, yes, I do. What did I enjoy about working with Media Expertise? Oh my gosh. From the beginning of having a conversation with Shay Brown, I was like, I'm in. And then they started sending me the workup. They started sending me the information. Lauren was sending me the information of what I needed to do. I mean, they just walked you through the whole process, what made it easy. Now it was up to me to put the stories together. Yet they made it easy for me to have a timeline, what to talk about, because just face it, we have so many stories in our head. And then when I came to the studio, oh my gosh, the ambiance, the welcoming, everything, the lights, the camera, the action, the photos, everything was just so wonderful. Then I gave them a theme song. Every day I'm hustling, every day. So I walked into that pumped me up. And then Charlie Wilson, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. But the studio is amazing. Everything is wonderful. They walk you through everything. They make it easy. They make it easy. So that's why I love working with Media Expertise. The process is wonderful. And I want to thank Shay Brown Jr., and the rest of the staff. Please, if I forgot your name, don't charge it to my heart, charge it to my head. But thank you for everything. I appreciate you. God bless. And keep on putting out those entrepreneurs, making of an entrepreneur. Hey.